Mr. Dave here. Podcast number 2. How about that, man? Pretty exciting. Got through 1. Beginning is half done. Remember that phrase, guys. Beginning is half done. Trying to do a new thing here, and so trying to be diligent and keep pushing forward towards the high calling, that kind of stuff, and trying to keep it going. So it's a little bit cold out here in San Diego. It is January 11th, and I don't have the, I do have the microphone plugged in. Never know what's going on here. Got my happy cup. You need to have a happy cup. See, smiley face. All right. I need to make some merch that makes more sense than it is have happiness in the happy cup. So, oh, my phone's making noise. All right, I'm gonna ignore that. All right, it's almost live, but not quite. So, how are you doing right now? Right this moment, whoever you are listening to this, if it's audio only or watching this on my YouTube channel. This is podcast number 2, and we're going to be talking about words, but because this is a really important thing. It's huge. It's like foundational to everything we do. Words, this topic. I'm going to flush it out here, but how are you right now this second? What's going through in your mind? What are you thinking? What kind of thoughts, what kind of words are going through your mind? Are you worried about the future? Do you have a pain on your body somewhere? I know all about that. Right now I feel pretty good. It's cold, and I'm actually wearing a scarf. I never wear scarves, but I got tired. My neck was getting cold, so now I'm wearing scarves in my own house. It's kind of cold. And so what is your status right now? Looking within our minds, looking within to see what we're thinking about. Are you thinking about things that are exciting and fun, and you're looking forward to the future with anticipation of a massive success, victories, and triumph? Or are you being dogged and hounded by what if thinking? This could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, that could happen. It's like, oh no, watch out, this could happen. It's very scary, it's very traumatic. Well, that's one of the things you got to battle, and one of the things I've been battling my whole life. I spent decades with depression, struggling with that. I think a lot of us creative personality types, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs are, because there's a lot of creativity when you start putting together a business, or whatever topic it is. Creativity seem to go hand in hand with challenges on that front. At least the people I know, a lot of creative artist types, not everybody, but really all of us at various times struggle with how we think and our mental state. And so today I want to talk about words. All right, I actually made some notes trying to think this stuff through. I'm going to try to put these notes in the I'll link to them. Might put them on my website or my Podia site for free, but we're talking about words. So I want to go back to the beginning, as we have struggled through our lives. If you're at all like me, I'm 65. If you're anywhere younger than that, then you have struggled too, because that is what life seems to be at times, a struggle. I hated school except for the playtime. Sitting in a chair for hours and hours and staring at a teacher or a chalkboard was maddening for me, and my personality just didn't jive with that. I was a boy, and I think most boys just don't like to sit in chairs. We like to go to the playground. We like to play sports, tackle, wrestle, and do what boys do. And so that's what I was doing, that I liked the best anyway when I was a kid. And part of that process is what molds and shapes us as we're growing up, the words that we hear. Our brains are wired for survival. So how our lives and the world that we come into as little babies molds and shapes how we are beginning to process life and looking for ways to survive. And so when you're a little baby, you're totally dependent on your parents. And if they're doing a good job, then you feel safe, secure, nurtured, and protected, and you have an opportunity to develop in a way that is in a safe environment. The world isn't totally dangerous. If you have chaos and madness and craziness in your home, your parents are fighting, or you have siblings and they're, working on you. I was the oldest of 5 kids. So I came in first, and I was an angel child, my parents said. Just amazing, perfect little kid, perfect little boy. And then my brother showed up. I got a package deal. Twin brothers showed up when I was 2. So I ended up having to have my parents stolen from me. And it was a deep frustration. You can see it in the family photos. I'm always looking kind of frowning and stuff. So that impacted me considerably, and so I adapted and I addressed my life as best I could, but it has to do with survival. It has to do with making it safe, seeking out things that are good and feel right, and that's my mom and her love and affection and care when I was a little guy. So all of us, you included, we had our story. We have our story of how our little game plan of life began, and how did it cruise along? Was it a stumbling, bumbling, tripping, falling, crashing, burning, painful process? Surely it was at times. I definitely skinned my knee after falling off my bicycle and flipping off the swing, and getting road rash, skateboarding, and so life did bring pain, but mentally we develop ways of dealing with it. And so I want to talk about the word. This is so huge. It's absolutely so huge. So how things began in our lives had to do not with words, but with actual physical safety. What were the kind of sounds that we heard around ourselves and when we were little babies and stuff? What were the faces telling us that we're loved and it's safe and we're cherished? Or were we annoying to the mom or dad and stuff? I think my mom and dad did a pretty good job, and my mom was just amazing. And she ended up with 5 kids. I think we were almost all in diapers at one time. So we ended up with a family of 5, 3 boys and 2 girls, and I was the oldest and stuff. So my mom was full-time in diapers at the beginning. So I did have 2 years of my mom all to myself, which I loved. That was great. I don't remember exactly how that was, but I know that my mom told me that, I got a little grumpy after my twin brother showed up. So it's really important that we look back now at our older time and start to realize all that stuff impacted us. It all had a big impact on how we are as people now. Whatever age you're at, you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I'm in my 60s, starting to get this stuff figured out, this thing called life. And I'm like, I wish I could have known this way back in the day, but it is what it is, and you try to learn, grow, and become, as I like to say, every day, from wherever position you are in your journey, okay? So it's really important that we acknowledge that our environment growing up had to be safe. It had to be, ideally, you wanted it to be safe, but a lot of times it wasn't exactly, and so we had to adapt, and we got coping mechanisms that we developed in our thinking about how life is and how do we approach that. We get coping mechanisms that sometimes work as little kids, but then we need to jettison those as we get older because they don't work as we grow up. In any case, 97%, some studies have shown that 97% of our communication is not the words. It's not the words. It's the tone, it's the pacing, how's it presented, facial expressions of those who are communicating those words, tempo, the speed, pace, inflection, volume, intensity. So those are that's where communication is. And you can imagine how when you just say any kind of word, you can change the meaning of that word just by changing the facial expressions. Your mood comes through. And so we want to manage those things and we want to pick the right words, of course, but if you can say love, you can say love, you can say love, so you can say a word in different ways and it has completely different meanings to it. So we need to watch that and how we're listening inside our minds to things. Right now, if you're just listening to me talk on a device somewhere, which is what the case would be, I assume, yeah, unless you're somehow supernatural, you're hearing the words in your head. No one else is hearing the words inside your head except you. And so when I stop talking, you're still talking and having a conversation in your head. When we're conscious and awake, there's like always words and sounds and meaning and conversations that are going on in our heads. It's like you can't escape it. And so we really want to watch that stuff. How is our brain working? What are we saying? What are we thinking? How are we looking at situations and stuff? And so as we work through that stuff, we got to understand where we got our information at the beginning. And at first it came from our parents and our family and our friends, and then our peers, and they're all having an impact on who you are, who I was, who I am each day. But it starts at the very beginning. From the minute we come out of the tube and we're crying and we get a little spanking on the butt, make sure we're all good. We're here in the world, and the world's starting to swirl around us, and we're learning. We're big sponges. We're soaking it up. But in a family structure, there's always kind of forces that are at play, and it's a big struggle and it's hard. Being a kid is not always easy. In fact, it's pretty hard. Then you get in your peer groups and you're looking at bullying and stuff, and I went through a whole lot of that. I was a tall, skinny kid, and a little bit of Asperger profile, if you've ever heard about that. So I had a real hard time having a social conversation with my peer group. I always would say something stupid, or I'd make an inappropriate joke that was more of an insult, and so people would like not get it, or they'd be mad at me. I remember I ended up in high school in 10th grade. I was so awkward and uncomfortable in social situations. I actually was eating my lunch at a Dairy Queen. I'd get a taco and a bean tostada. It probably cost me $1.80. And I ate it hiding behind a brick wall where the dumpster was behind the facility. It was a high school in Redlands, California. It had 2,800 students, from 10th grade to 12th. Pretty big school that I went to in high school. Terrified. Since I'm the oldest kid, I always went to everything first. So I went through that whole process where my siblings were able to come in behind me, so they had a little bit of an easier road to hoe. But they still had to face the same kind of challenges and stuff. My brothers were twins and stuff, not identical, but they had each other, and so they always had a great social network, had lots of friends, and I was always so jealous of how they just made friends so easy, and I just struggled. It was so hard. That's I kind of became a brooding, kind of artsy-fartsy guy during that journey. So we we get that stuff from our parents, family, friends, peers, and then it gets out into, well, nowadays it's our phones, pretty much. Like everything is coming through us, through our phones pretty much for a lot of us, younger people, myself included. I'm seeing that this thing it's like designed for me to just like never leave the phone. It's like just always there, for me to just keep scrolling like a zombie. I'm like, Hemotep. Remember the Mummy movie? I keep thinking about that these days because I'm turning into all these forces are trying to grab hold of us and pull us in different directions. And on the topic of words, all that stuff, words are coming in and they're impacting us and how we think. Now, this topic that I'm talking about here on success, life skills, how to be happier, it has to do with our businesses too. And if you don't overcome some of these internal dialogues that are tearing you down, pulling you away from the places you need to go, you're not going to succeed as well, and you may just totally self-sabotage. And I've gone through some of that myself, again, because of low self-esteem, a lot of self-shame from being young and being picked on and just feeling like I'm pathetic, I just worthless, and stuff. So all this programming from words gets in there, and it starts to turn us into the people we are in many ways, and that can be pretty much a big problem. So we have to understand, what did we learn growing up? Is it a safe place? Was it harsh? How was being a little kid, young kid, and then adolescence? Did you get positive, empowering, loving, safe sounds, facial expressions, and touch, from your parents and loved ones, and words with the same meaning? Or was it the opposite? Did you get like, you suck, you can't do it, why are you even going to try? And it's amazing how easy it is for folks to just tear you down. You see it in social media, just driving people to suicide sometimes with the bullying online. It's just merciless because you can kind of do it anonymous. It's pretty diabolical, it seems to me. But getting back to the words, we want to watch what all that stuff does, because it turns into our mindset. And the definition I found online was a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. It's a mindset. So what's your mindset? I can do it. Success is possible. I'm worth it. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of making a good living, blessing others, helping people. Or I suck. It'll never work. It'll never work. I tried, failed. I tried again, failed. I just can't get this going, I'll never make it. All those kind of words, man. Words. That kind of stuff just drills into your head. And so outwardly people can say that. You can hear stuff on the TV and movies and pictures that can kind of pull you in a direction that's not advocating for your best interests or your future. And then your peer group and other people in your families can be absolutely ruthless. My family was pretty good. I was more of a bully in my family because I was an unhappy kid most of the time. So I think my siblings, I've actually apologized to my brother and sisters for not being the best brother I could have been, and I feel bad about that. but I tried to make amends and make it right. So, we can try to, move forward in our lives and fix things that we broke, if you will. So the mindset is really, really important. It's a set of beliefs. Well, what's a belief? The thing I found online was it's a subjective attitude that a proposition or state of affairs is true. So it's a belief, and it's you can't really talk people out of beliefs because these like are foundational structures in our minds and our thinking about how the way the world is, how we are as people, and what way to go about whatever topic and stuff. So mindset is beliefs, and so beliefs are the foundation. So what are we believing about ourselves? What are we believing about potential, possibilities, what we can do in the future? I mean, it's just like a mental battle to keep your brain in the right direction. So what kind of beliefs do I have that help me? That's a good question. I mean, I believe I can do this. I believe I can overcome. I can believe I can take on challenges. I believe I can learn new stuff. I believe I can learn how to play the piano. Or I can't. I sucked. I tried it. I don't believe I could do that. I really don't believe. I believe rich people are bad. I believe rich people stole from others to get it. And it's all a scam, and they're just bad. And and that could be a real solid belief. And so you got to ask yourself: are my beliefs serving me and helping me, or my beliefs not helping me? I believe America is horrible, or I believe America is perfect. You can have beliefs that are either helping you move forward or stopping you in your tracks or pulling you backwards. So we really got to watch what we're thinking. It's all between our ears. Okay, so beliefs establish a mindset, and a mindset drives you forward. So we really want to make sure we're sure and assess ourselves. Okay, what are my beliefs getting? What's my mindset and my beliefs getting me? Am I moving forward? Am I moving backward? Am I moving nowhere? I'm sort of stuck. I'm not getting the ball rolling and trying to, improve my situation in life. Am I just whining and complaining all the time? I mean, you can just get into a state where I've been bashed and bruised from health issues that, knocked my feet out from underneath me. I've been in hospital beds for weeks, as some talked a little bit about that in the last podcast and stuff. And it's discouraging, and pain, especially chronic pain that lasts more than just a few days, can drag you down. So if any of you guys out there listening to this, you have chronic pain, or you're in a painful situation right now, man, I appreciate your situation, and I want you to know I understand how hard that is. And trying to be happy and all positive when you have chronic pain, or when you move and it really hurts, it's so hard. I mean, my wife tells me I was a bad patient when I've been through all this. And my patience was, like 30 seconds instead of maybe minutes. So, when you're in pain, the fuse gets shorter, and life is just brutal. So acknowledging that, hang in there if you're in pain right now. Pray, Lord, bless this person who's hearing right now in pain. Lord Jesus, help them with the pain. Give them some relief, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. Do a work here, Lord. So I believe in Jesus. I believe in God, and I believe prayer does something. So if you're hearing my voice right now, God can come in and help you out with that. And so let that be so. So I pray. So moving on again to the words. Let's keep going here. What stumbling blocks have I got going on? We can always find reasons not to do stuff. We can always find reasons not to do stuff, not to believe stuff that's good for us. It's endless. The human ability to find reasons not to do things and to talk ourselves out of success, out of opportunity, out of doing the right thing is just never stops, especially nowadays. If you look at the different things we've been through with COVID and all these other things. I just did the other day. I looked online and I found something that said X, and then I found another study from an expert that said Y. And they were contradictory. They were the opposite perspective on the topic. And I don't remember exactly what it was. But the point is, it's like you can research and find stuff that says, this was how it went down in terms of the crazy news world we live in. And then you can look and find things online and say, no, it was this way. So it's kind of overwhelming to just even try to find out what the heck the truth is about what we're seeing in our world right now, which is like bonkers in so many levels. And so you gotta just recognize that that's our ability to just push out and lose our foundational beliefs because of this or that topic or this or that quote expert information is there. And we have to make sure we don't lose all of our important foundational topics that are in our head, that the foundation upon which we live, our values, our character, what's right and wrong, how do you bless people and not curse them, how do you restrain the tongue when you feel like saying stuff to your loved one or someone out there. It's a battle, but it's all up here, and the words are the key here. That's what we're talking about, words here today. So what do? We want to look at what's going on in our heads right now and why we're not doing stuff we know we should do, and why we need and how to get ourselves to do what we know we should do, and stop doing stuff that we shouldn't. All right? We got to stop doing stuff that we know isn't bad for us. And some of the consultants, some of the videos, we're seeing videos everywhere, and I'm like total Mr. Screen scrolling, look at this and stuff. But we got to take control of our thoughts, and there's good information out there and experts that can give us supportive information, content, training, instruction. We got to open ourselves up to the good stuff and not just get swallowed up with the negative and what if thinking. It's horrible, end of the world now. So we got to consider that every day is an opportunity for change. Every day an opportunity for change. Okay? You are not a rock solid thing that can't change. You can change. People change every day. I'm not the same person I was years ago. One of the main things that has made me different is the suffering and the pain and getting my feet knocked out from underneath me. And I thought I could conquer the world and I was invincible until I broke my arm hang gliding. And that is a demarcation point where I was Mr. Dude's invincible, try everything, no problem, I can always get myself out of trouble, to no, I can't, and I'm not able to do that. Stuff happens too fast, too easy. And so I got very humbled. So becoming humble is a great thing to get good at. And so we have to watch, again, how we're thinking, but we can change. We can change, all right? And you need to believe that you can. There's people in my family that I've talked to about doing things, and they just say, I can't change. And I got to tell you that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You're right. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Any of you guys have heard any of the psychobabble stuff? It's kind of what we're talking about here. And these topics have been around for a long time, but we want to get better at this game called life. So we're looking at the words. So what do I believe, and is it helping me? And if it isn't, I need to do something about it. I need to change. What do I need to change? I got to change my thoughts. Gets back to that first place that these things are going on between our ears. It's our melon. We got to get those thoughts in control and start directing them instead of letting them direct us. All right? Simple stuff. I mean, I've read all these books, been to workshops, trainings, seminars. I always thought this psychobabble stuff was kind of wild. This motivational stuff was interesting. I think it was part of me trying to figure out my own quirkiness and make sure I'm not just totally disabling myself and sabotaging myself and making my future less than it could be because of my own brokenness and my own childhood trauma events and things like that. It seems like everybody has some kind of issue there. And for our businesses, we're talking about stuff that's the foundational issues with starting your business. Now, made a fake rock company, made a sand sculpture company, both knew nothing about them, as I've said in other videos and stuff. But they both became successful, and I made a living doing that, and we got a house, and I've been able to take care of my family in spite of pretty gnarly health issues. So there's nothing better for me than owning my own business. I set my own hours. No one can fire me but me by being a poor businessman and not taking care of people and not making sure they're getting their needs met, okay? So the pathway to get there had to do with changing my thoughts. I spent time with a psychiatrist getting some counseling because of my depression and stuff 30 years ago or whatever it was by now. And so you got to be humble enough and ask for help, okay? But we got to think about and we got to look at and listen to our thoughts. What's going on in there? It's been said that the quality of our lives equals the quality of our communications. The quality of our lives equals the quality of our communications, and it begins internally. What are the communications inside ourselves? Some of you guys remember the animated film Inside Out, I think it is, and it has a little character on the shoulder of one of the characters talking that they can't do it, and the other one says they can, and it's like these internal little parts of us that it's like the weirdest thing. Part of us is like, you can't do it, you suck. And there's another little part that sort of has a positive attitude. Maybe I can do it, I can give it a try. And then you have a battle between part of your own self with the other part of yourself. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. I've been doing it my whole life. And, you know, I'm even doing this little podcast. There's the imposter syndrome. We start creeping in there, and this thing makes my neck scratchy. And so I'm sitting here going, why would I even attempt to do this? Who cares what I'm going to say? Well, I'm 65. I don't know how many more days I got. I've almost croaked already a time or two. And it seems like the important things need to be said, and I want to leave at least my little thumbprint on the world as best I can to try and make a difference in people's lives and say, hey, you can do this stuff. You know, and have hope. Hopelessness is horrible, and hopefulness is magical and wonderful. So I'm trying to put that out there. But this, like I was saying, the imposter syndrome, little voice in my head, you know, and that's why I finally just did it. You know, I'm like, wow, you know, am I dressed right? Is the room behind me in the picture you're seeing? Is it got distractions? Is it set right? Do I have a nice studio? Do I need a podcast studio? Well, this is just a little room in the house here, and so I can get perfectionistic about things. And like, no, just do it. Beginning is half done. Okay, beginning is half done. Just get your butt out and do something. You know, do an online course. You know, call a counselor. Try to get some feedback from someone who supports you and brings you forward in your journey. It doesn't dog you and tear you down and tell you can't do it. It'll never work. Like Eeyore, if you guys remember that Winnie the Pooh character was, it'll never work. It'll never work. So the quality of our lives equals the quality of our communications. We have got to control what we're saying to ourselves in our fuzzy little heads. Okay? We got to do that inside us firstly, and then when we start getting better at that, then what comes out of us is better. You know, from out of the heart, the mouth speaks. You know, so what's in our hearts and spirit, that comes out. So do we have a spirit of kindness, love, forgiveness? Are we humble, teachable? Are we able to communicate with a good, positive vibe, or not so much? And it vacillates. There's days when I'm better than other days, like all of us and stuff. But we're going to try to keep working away at this. No perfectionism. You know, progress, not perfection. All these little quotes that you hear from motivational speakers. And that stuff is good. It's good to get that stuff in our heads. So, GIGO, G-I-G-O, good stuff in, good stuff out. What are you putting in your head? What words, phrases, sounds, pictures are you putting in your head? Okay? Especially with our phones. Young dudes, man, there's forces out there that are trying to tear you down and mess you up, gum you up, slow you down, derail your progress in life, tell you you're not, you know, men are bad, and all these strange forces that are out there sort of warring against us. So us men particularly, I think, and women too, you know, they got their own battles to fight and forces that are warring against them too. So we have to really watch what we're putting into our melons. What are we listening to? What are our eyes seeing? Okay, and if you're having trouble controlling that, get some help. We got to ask for some help. One of the things that I think people forget is that you are worthy of love, happiness, success, meaning, and a positive purpose. You're not here by accident, okay? God made each of us in his image, and there's a purpose for us living right now. Right now, you're listening to me. You're hearing the sound of your breath. You're hearing me rambling on about stuff. I just want you to know you're worth it, and God loves you. There is a God. I've had amazing things happen that are way past coincidence proving that, and I bounced around and figured that out, but it took me years. But I want you to know that you're loved by a power, a creator that is bigger than all of us. So there's meaning and purpose in your life. You're not an accident. You're not a mistake. Okay? That's a fact. The other fact is you either help or hinder yourself with how you think. And it, like I said, it vacillates, and we sometimes are doing a good job. Sometimes we have doubts, and all that's okay. We're not perfect. I have doubts, just like I was telling you about the imposter syndrome, just doing this simple little podcast deal. So we have to keep pushing through that and not give up. But here's the key. What kind of words are we focusing on? Okay? And then when you think about the words, how are they sounding? Like we said, 97% of the words, the communication from words, are not the words. They're how you say it. That's how the inflection, the tone, the tempo, the pacing of someone talking to you, whether you're reading on a page and then how you hear it in your head. You can read and hear it in your head in different ways. So we need to control that in a way. I did Tony Robbins' workshop, Firewalk, 25, 30 years ago. And one of the things he taught us about was something called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. And basically it's just taking note of what's going on in your head, looking at the words, and then if it's a word or a phrase that's not helping you, change the sound of it in your mind. So if your brain's telling you, I can't do that, well, then change it to the sound of Mickey Mouse. I can't do that. That's really dumb. Or you're a loser. Or you're a really loser. Make it sound like a dork. Make it sound like, Mickey Mouse, or make it a weak, impotent little voice that's telling you negative things. And then on the positive side, make those sounds be strong, powerful. You're awesome, man. You're going to do this. You can do this, man. And so change the sound of those voices in your head, especially if you got a little chatter that's picking on you, saying, yeah, you're a loser. And you say, yeah, well, you're a loser too. And just change that, Don't think of pink elephants. Well, you can't not think about pink elephants. It's okay? So some of the words I wrote down on the plus side, these are the things you want to say to yourself. And my dog Bernie just came in. Hello, Bernie. Talking about positive stuff. He's all amped out. He probably wants to go out and take a walk or a run. What do you want, dummy? All right, Bernie's interrupting my great speech here. What are you doing? All right, Bernie. I'm gonna have some here, coffee, mud, drink, whatever. All right. I'm rambling on here. 32 minutes, it looks like. I'm checking the timer. Okay, we're doing good. We're almost done here on my second podcast. Just wanted to give you some feedback on the power of words to reiterate our journey. So, I just wrote these down, wrote down words, and these are the kind of words or phrases you want to hear in your mind, you want to say to yourself, and you want to flood your mind with, okay? And you want to say these in your mind. You could even read them out loud like you mean it, okay? Victory. I can. I will. Hope. Be hopeful. We can hope. Hopeful. Love. Positive purpose. Goodness. Helpful. Beautiful. Wonderful. Long-suffering. Benevolent. Warm. Oh, I love warm is good. I don't like being cold. Sweet. Happy. Joyful. Giving. Harmony. Harmonious. Smooth. Gratitude. Gratitude's a big word. Gratitude is the most awesome word. Every morning say thank you for what you got, because it can always be worse. I can tell you that from personal experience. Gratitude, thankfulness, wisdom, smart, charitable, forgiveness, meaning, practice, patience, purpose, sacrifice, consideration, competence, complimentary, composure, calm, creative, comforting, comfortable, visionary, viable, impassioned, important, mature, motivating, magical, tactful, tenacity, teamwork, temporary, temperate, magnificent, energetic, energizing, heavenly, easy, ecstasy, enveloping, cozy, comfortable, compassion, complete, enticing, future, fun, hilarious, and fantastic. All right, that's just some of the ones I came up with. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, these are things you don't want to talk about. Try not to say these in your head, or if you do, like I said, change the voice so it sounds kind of silly. Because these are disabling things you don't want to say. Don't say these. I can't, couldn't, I shouldn't. It's impossible. It's impractical, irritating, uncomfortable. I hate this. I hate that. I hate others. I hate everything. Harmful, hurt, evil, maddening, maniacal, monstrous, malevolent, inconsiderate, hopeless, helpless, failure, stealing, stolen, stale, stupid, dumb, dying, dead, death, rot, wretched, sad, scum, stench, harmful. It'll never work. Weak, lazy, lousy, sour. Ooh, sore, pathetic, patsy, perverted, abused, abuse, abandoned, left out, whiny, rejected, repulsed, repulsive, complaining, blaming, belligerent, bashing, punching, vomit, barf, collapse, falling, fuming, painful. Just reading that out, I'm starting to feel crappier. Oh, I tell you, this stuff is it's powerful, man. The words you use, you use them, and then they abuse you. So you got to be careful. So how we say and hear these words in our heads drives our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, wiring in how we think and take on, or don't, the challenges, problems, hurts, opportunities, possibilities, and potentials that come our way. All right, guys and gals out there, if you're listening, thank you for listening to the podcast. Mr. Dave here, going on for number 2 podcast about words, the power and impact of words on us. In the insert that I'm going to attach to this in the comments or somewhere with this video or podcast, you have books that I recommend. The Bible, Imagine Heaven, wonderful book about near-death experiences that my dad gave me years ago, and we've read it. I've read it 8 or 9 times. It's what I read before I go to bed at night, filling my mind with the future. You know, imagine a rope that comes across right in front of you right here. There's like a little red part, and it's like an inch big. That's our physical lives on this planet right now. The future is a rope that goes on forever. Okay, our future is 10,000 years from now. You're not going to be gone in 10,000 years. You'll still be somewhere. Your physical body will be dust long ago, but there's something else. You read Imagine Heaven by John Burke. The link's included in the notes, hopefully, where you can track them down. You're going to see statistics and scientific data that proves there's something else, and it transcends different cultures, religions, and that kind of thing. These near-death experiences are quite amazing, and there's way more of them happening than we ever thought. So the Bible, get a Bible, read Psalms and Proverbs if nothing else. Don't have to be a person of faith if you just want to start this process of learning wisdom. I mean, it's the most sold book, most printed book in the history of mankind. So it must have something, all right? Psalms and Proverbs, read those every day, every other day, but just do a little bit. Wisdom is there. Wisdom is there. And a lot more, of course, too. So the Bible, number 1, Imagine Heaven, has been helping me. Daily Light is a little tiny booklet that has a daily reading for every day, and it's from Bible scripture, which is awesome, okay? If you got a big problem with the Bible, well, find something positive that supports good stuff and doesn't support bad stuff, okay? The Power of Positive Thinking, an amazing book by Norman Vincent Peale, which my grandmother actually sang at his church in New York City. I just learned a little bit ago, and so pretty amazing story that we have here. So, Bible, Imagine Heaven, Daily Light. It's a little book for daily reading as you start your day. The Power of Positive Thinking. All this positive thinking and motivational stuff. I remember back in the day going, it's just these guys doing the rah-rahs. Okay, when you're a depressed person and you're struggling, it's almost like people are real positive. They bug you. Would you just you're just so positive. It's like, whatever, So hurting people hurt people, we aren't our best when we're suffering and when we're depressed and we're struggling with negative thinking and tearing ourselves down. And it often goes out and it ends up tearing other people down. And it's a bad cycle. So we got to fill our minds with good words, and that comes in the form of books and also all the other places we're getting content. Watch what we're gobbling up here and putting our little melons. If we're putting junk in there, junk's going to come out. Okay? And there's very seductive things. These algorithms, they know us so good. They're like, oh man, I don't know how many times I've seen avalanches and tsunamis and snow skiers. One of my passions was snow skiing and stuff. So, but it's like, wait, it's been 2 hours and I haven't left this couch. What the heck? So I'm working on trimming that back because that's getting a little crazy here. But trying to step out, like I said, and do this podcast. I hope you guys are out there enjoying this and it's some kind of value to you. If you have something to say, don't be afraid to start up your own little gig. A YouTube channel is free to set up, free. And I'm just talking to a little one-eyed little cyclops on top of my computer, a little camera there. Easy plug-in, a little light above it that I got online, and it showed up so I don't look totally like I'm The Walking Dead. It's a little warm light there, which is good. And so, we need to hear from us older folks who've lived lives and younger folks who've been through stuff, and we persevered and we overcame. A lot of, particularly young men out there, you guys out there that are in your 20s and 30s, there's a lot of forces that are like just trying to trip you up and distract you and get you off the pathway towards success in your personal life and professional lives as well. So watch what you're putting in your melon is what I want to say. But have courage, and men are okay. We're not evil and bad. We're supposed to be men, and we're not supposed to just get so pushed around by the culture sometimes, when they're not, they're sort of beating us up a little bit. So there's my little pitch on esteem. Young men need some esteeming, and encouragement. So you guys hang in there, wherever you are, listen to this, whether it's audio or watching this on my channel. So God bless you guys. I love you guys out there. I love all the comments that you send my way. It's a huge blessing to me. It makes me want to do this, and so I'm having at least a positive impact before I kick my heels up, which could happen any day. I've got a doc appointment in my left transplant, or my left lens. They took out the old one and put a new one in. Now it's floating around, so I have blur. So it's like, health stuff. It's like never ends. There's always something. But people, you can go and Google Jim Rohn. He was actually the fellow that got Tony Robbins going. Zig Ziglar, another good guy. Always positive, supportive, motivational stuff. Stephen Covey. These are the old school guys that kind of been doing this for decades and decades. Norman Vincent Peale, the Power of Positive Thinking book I mentioned. So get good stuff, get good words, put them in your head, say them to yourself. Affirmation cards. I actually found affirmation cards from my dad, who just passed away last September. He's a bigwig psychiatrist guy, and I found little 3x5 cards with little affirmations. I should dig them up and show them to you guys. But anyway, you can master yourself, and in doing so, you will master your future. And yeah, it's a rah-rah thing, but hey, it's more fun being happy. One of the things I like to say. And I can tell you that the work I've put in on my own journey has made all the difference. And I've been a better husband and dad and friend and business owner because of it. We have the ability to self-sabotage ourselves on all levels if we're not careful. And so we really want to grab hold of our futures and direct our paths, because we can do that. We don't have to live at the mercy of what happened to us when we were kids, however horrible that might be. People have overcome amazing things and gone on to be a blessing and not a curse to people. So that's what we want to do. So Mr. Dave here, 42 minutes. That's a long podcast for me, longest one so far. Let me know what you think about this. And send me questions, comments, any topics you want me to cover. I have the ability, as you can see, to talk on and ramble on for a long time. So love your feedback. Again, love you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Mr. Dave checking out. Bam! All right, thanks for watching or listening to Mr. Dave's podcast here, number 2. Check out the notes for more leads to my other content. And thanks so much for watching, y'all. Have an awesome day, no matter what. All right, take it easy, man. Bye.